Devin, you become like people are calling from you in my social media a little bit, right?
You never tell me that.
No, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't see each other.
Back on,
I don't see each other that much. And what do you want me to do? Send you a little picture like, oh, hey, look, Rick Daddio said great pod this week. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned, and that's right. He's here. Devin McCourty, I appreciate it. My man, the fans, the homies have been asking for you. We deliver here.
I'm a part of the show.
You're
now,
part of the
man.
show every Sunday, all right? Or when you get up and listen to this on a podcast, it'll be Monday morning. But, yes, Devin is going to be a part of this all year long.
You'll hear and see me on Sundays.
What did you say when they first asked you? You're like, oh, shit, I got to stay late now.
Well, our guy Matt Casey asked, and I was like, with Simms? Oh, no doubt. I love being with Simms.
Damn, that's what I wanted to hear. See, we were meant to be together, Ebony and Ivory in perfect harmony. There we go. But as you know, as always, we're going to hit every game on Sunday. We're going to hit every game the whole weekend. We got Give Me the Headlines and then kickoff recap and then a little Monday Night Football preview, okay? That's what we do, all right?
I like it.
And then we'll take a few questions from the homies as we go forward. But the first thing we're going to hit on right off the bat, all right? I don't know if you want to say anything that jumped out to you about the week overall, anything I didn't even ask you beforehand, but we're going to jump right into division rivalries.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. I think, obviously, Micah, I'm not going to steal your thunder because I know Friday night was what jumped out to you. But, yeah, I think Micah jumped out because it was such a huge story, and I hated the way it unfolded for the Cowboys. You go all off season, all summer. So I just feel like as a player, you're like, oh, they're going to get this done.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's here.
Right.
Like, I know he's not practicing, but he's here. We're going to get this done. And then out of nowhere, you're playing defending champs, and your best defensive player is gone. Like, that's hard to rebound. And they did. They played tough. They lost. But I thought you usually come out, sometimes you're too fired up because you want to prove so much.
Right.
But I think a credit to him. He does a lot of different things. People criticize him, the podcast. I think he's very comfortable with who he is. So he came out today, and he was like, no matter how many plays I'm out here, I'm going all out. And you could see that out there. So credit to him taking everything that happened and transpired and saying, you know what, it's time to go play football.
That's right. I mean, it's the biggest story in the sport. It's one of the biggest trades I can ever remember in my whole life, and I've been doing football forever. I know you're a football aficionado as well. And then, not only on that, like you said, you kind of feel bad for Dallas and all of that. I don't, all right? They made their bet on that one. They deserve it, all right?
Dallas players.
Yes, Dallas players.
Yes.
You're right about that. All right, let's start there. Let's go right to the Packers game. Packers-Lions, right? We were all wondering about the Lions a little bit because we know Dan Campbell. We know they got a lot of good players. We've talked about the coordinators not being there. I don't know. Right off the bat from the football game, it kind of looked like they were missing the edge of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn and really felt like they were, I don't know, maybe the lesser team right from the get-go. You felt like the Packers were ready to go and prove some people wrong because the damn Lions have had their way with them the last few years.
Yeah, you try not to overreact to week one, but it was such a huge story. We had them in the Hall of Fame game, and I think all of us that were down on the field, I talked to Goff and was like, how's everything been going? The newness, new offensive coordinator, and he was like, it was good. You know, we still got good players. And I was like, man, I like that answer. Like, we still got our guys. We're going to go perform. But I think it stuck out right from the opening drive. 12 plays, 83 yards, and a Tucker Kraft touchdown. And it was just like, man, like Aaron Glenn would have been going ballistic on the sideline over there. And it's not to say that couldn't have happened.
Yeah, sure.
But it just stuck out to me. The opening drive for the Lions season, they go out there on defense, and that's what happened. Drive straight down the field, really no stops and go in and a touchdown. That stuck out for me.
It stuck out to me too. And I know enough about those guys and what people have told me. They brought an edge to that building, right? Ben Johnson, what he did, all of that, right? I know he's not easy to work for. He keeps that offensive staff on edge there too. Yeah, there was a lack of toughness. I told people on the pod, right, when we were at the Hall of Fame game around the Chargers-Lions there, the first game of the year, one of the things Lions people told me in private a little bit was that the O-line had been all over the place the first few weeks of camp. And that's what we kind of saw again here today. The only thing I questioned coming in this matchup, I wanted to take the Packers all year long because I was going, their first game, they've been losing to the Lions. They're going to prove a point. Then Jordan Love got hurt, and I was like, I'm not sure if he's going to be in rhythm and playing good. But, man, he came out firing, like you said. I mean, that was the theme of the game, really. Green Bay, we know their O-line is really good. They pass protect really well, but it wasn't about the run game where you kind of thought, hey, first game, they'll feel it out. They'll run the ball with Josh Jacobs. He was one of the best runners in football last year. No, they took the approach of like, we're gonna block it up. We're going to take shots down the field. We saw Jaden Reed. We saw Dobbs, all of that. And Jordan Love looked really comfortable. And I think the other thing that jumped out to me, not only did he drop back and aggressive down the field, but like we were saying in the viewing room, I don't remember him under pressure all day. Yeah. He had all day back there. So they had their way, and they exposed the Lions on the defensive side of the ball, at least in the early part of the football game, to build that 27-6 lead.
And I think that's one of the things that stick out from a player standpoint of last year. There was a lot of talk about the Detroit Lions pass rush, and a lot of it fell on, well, Aiden Hutchinson isn't here.
Right.
And now he comes back. And it's like, are they expecting too much for a guy that breaks his leg, and now he comes back, and you expect him to kind of be the whole pass rush? And I think that's something that is going to come into focus. You just said Love looked comfortable the whole game.
Right.
And I think what Green Bay felt is what Detroit missed. It's those plays that when you go out there and you run the play, as soon as the play starts, if you just do it right, you kind of looking like, man, that was a great play call. And we saw that on the Reed touchdown. Everybody on Detroit's up there press. They run a little pick play. Love throws it out there, pitch and catch, touchdown. And that's what we have become accustomed to seeing from Detroit, that no matter what Goff did, the play that Ben Johnson drew up was just so perfect that once he called it, it was a touchdown as soon as they called it. And you didn't see that much today. Yeah, they had a couple over routes, a couple, quick plays. Jameson Williams gained some yards, but it wasn't those kind of,
oh my gosh, how did he get so open? Holy crap, they're just tearing them apart. Agreed.
Yeah.
And that's where I question the Lions going forward. Yeah. I mean, again, I think we kind of just let like Ben Johnson going out the door. I think as a totality in the media, people are like, oh, it's no big deal. It's still Dan Campbell. They got people to replace him. They lost a lot of coaches. They lost other guys even down the line behind Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, who also helped everything out there. And I don't know. I know you're in agreement with me with this too. Even a lot of these teams have the same plays, but we talk about, and one of the beauties about Ben Johnson is how he set plays up, his play calling sequences. And that is where something I'll be watching with John Morton, the OC of the Lions, to see if they're the same there. They did not feel the same. They did not. We talked about Micah Parsons. He had an effect on the football game. There's no question. The Packers were the tougher, physical, hungrier team. You could tell they were, hey, Micah Parsons trade. We're sick of the Lions. It's our home opener. People have been questioning Jordan Love, and they came out and proved the point. I want to give Matt LaFleur a lot of credit because sometimes he doesn't get credit when they win games. And then Jeff Hafley on the defensive side of the ball. Even though Micah didn't play a lot, we saw him get moved around. He had his way with Penei Sewell a little bit. I mean, a lot of it actually for the few times they were against each other. The interception we saw Jared Goff throw when they were driving, you're going, okay, they're going to stay in this and keep making this a game here. That was Micah Parsons. He won a bunch of times with the inside move on Penei Sewell throughout the day, or just overpowered him to where he kind of pushed him back into Jared Goff's place. But the interception, I think Goff saw him. He realized, oh no, I got to get the ball out of my hands. He throws it, and then 33 Evan Williams gets the interception. But it felt like from that point on, the Packers really controlled the game. The Lions had a chance, I think, in the third quarter to go down, and you felt like, oh, okay, it's 24-6, or it might have been 17-3 at that point. I'm off a little bit. It was 17-3, and you went, oh, if they go down and score a touchdown here, this game could get interesting. But the Packers held them to a field goal and then answered back with touchdowns throughout the day. Packers were the better football team. I'm excited to see what the Packers could be. I mean, I'm a believer in their roster, and especially now with Micah, they were missing that like guy that could change the game on a one play or close out a game on the defensive side of the ball, and I think they got that now with him.
And I think it's important because they're still feeling out what this secondary looks like.
Yeah, right.
Eric Stokes was there at corner, Jair Alexander there, Keyshawn Nixon now stepping up and playing more at the corner position.
Yeah.
So as they're figuring those things out, the secondary's best friend is the pass rush. And what I loved about today was, Jason Garrett mentioned it earlier on Football Night in America, was they moved Micah Parsons around.
Yeah.
Yes, they rushed him over Detroit's best player in Penei Sewell, but they also was like, hey, you got a new center, you got a new guard, let's put him inside. Let him cause havoc everywhere, and that does nothing but help the secondary. And I think as Micah plays more and more, you're going to see this secondary become more aggressive because they're going to start to get the feeling of, okay, 1, 2, 2.5.
He's usually there by then. Right,
Exactly.
right,
And
right.
Once you start to trust that, yeah, you might get beat a couple times, but it pays off. You look at Trayvon Diggs. You look at
Deron Bland, right.
Look at the interception numbers they've had the last few years. That coincides with what DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. So if they can do that with Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, and they can pressure like that, these guys will take advantage and be able to have a lot of interceptions.
Packers really impressive. Packers is about as good as you can look in week one. Packers, I think we both agree, they're a team with potential that has a Super Bowl type roster. At least that's what I think, and I think you're in agreement with that, right?
No doubt.
Definitely. I mean, O-line, D-line, it doesn't feel like any team's going to ever overpower them there. Now they got the playmakers. The big thing for me is Jordan Love staying healthy. Yep. And then just the receivers staying healthy, right? I mean, we've seen Dobbs and Jaden Reed in and out of the lineup. We're still waiting for Christian Watson to get back. And then we saw a little Matthew Golden today, though. But if those receivers stay healthy and continue to grow, man, the Packers are going to be a force in the NFC and the NFC North. That's for sure. All right, you got anything else to say on that one?
No, I was just going to say, and they believe in that because you think back to a year ago.
Right.
They were right there, right with
Philadelphia in the wild card round. We kept saying that.
Yep.
I mean, they weren't outclassed by the best roster in football, right? They stood toe-to-toe with them. And as everybody knows, and everybody knows that listens to this podcast, all the homies out there, we are watching Sunday Night Football right now. Bills just went down and scored. We're in a 34-25 game. Ravens are winning right now. And Lamar Jackson just made the most unbelievable scramble ever. He went back like 25 yards and then made everybody miss and ran for 25 yards. And that's one of the things we broke down earlier in the game. And then here goes Derrick Henry downhill. And it's going to be a score touchdown. And as we sit here right now, before we move to the next game, it will be 41-25 Ravens. And we're about halfway through the fourth quarter. We'll check back in with that later. All right. We got more division rivalries. All right. Seahawks, 49ers. A game that was somewhat entertaining. I mean, a little weird, honestly, right?
Yep.
You know,
every game kind of was like that today.
It was, and I think that's what we just got to get used to in week one. And with lack of preseason, training camp not being the same as it used to be. Teams are a little sloppy. Mistakes are made. A game that the 49ers win 17-13. They outgained Seattle 384 to 230 yards. I think the feeling we both got watching the game was that it felt like the 49ers were the better team, but kind of kept messing things up. Yeah. Missed field goal. Brock Purdy threw 2 bad interceptions, right? They did have the George Kittle injury that I think was a little deflating at one point, but it certainly felt like the 49ers were the better football team, and we know the 49ers got championship merit there, but I was impressed with Brock Purdy. He did make some plays. His interceptions were bonehead. They were that. But again, Brock Purdy did make some plays above and beyond the offense that I think popped out to me. On a day where they didn't run the ball all that well on the road in Seattle, that was a big win for the Niners.
Does that get you a little nervous? You just said Brock Purdy interceptions, not good plays, and then even the touchdown that he had.
I'm not even sure he was throwing to that guy. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's not a high percentage play to roll around and throw the ball up there. Does that get you a little concerned? Because now Kittle's going to be out too. They don't have the weapons as before, where I think it was easy for Purdy to say, whoa, don't do anything crazy. Like Debo's going to get a reverse, or I'm going to throw one in the flats.
It'll all come to me.
Does that get you a little concerned?
I don't think he has a limit in that department, right? His best year, they went to the Super Bowl, and he actually referenced this in the offseason where he just talked about, like, I got to get back to the basics. I missed some of the plays last year that, like, the offense delivered for me, and I was either greedy or tried to do too much or just they weren't slam dunk like they were the year before. And I feel like that was a theme of the offseason, even talking to the 49ers a little bit, right? But, yeah, I don't think that's what we want from him on a consistent basis, right? I think that's the big thing there altogether. 49ers start the game with a 95-yard drive, and that was big. Kittle caps that off with a 5-yard touchdown. And then Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, and Jigma, they answer back. We're in a 7-7, 10-7 game. It was kind of close for a while, like we talked about, though. The 49ers were moving the ball, but we're getting nothing out of it. It kind of moved the ball, it seemed like, every day, every drive, somewhat into Seattle territory, and then nothing came of it a few times. But ultimately, they take the lead, and then late in the game on that play you talked about is where he scrambles to the right, he throws the ball to, I want to make sure I get this guy's
Jake Tongus.
Tongus, right. I had to say it on Football Night in America, and I was nervous as hell. First catch ever in his career. That, And then the 49ers defense made some big plays, and, of course, a big play down the stretch.
That's what stuck out to me.
Yeah.
It was the 49ers defense. A lot of talk this offseason about Dre Greenlaw being gone, Hufanga being gone of, hey, is this core the same? And no, it's not the same. Well, can they still produce? And I thought the defense came out against a Seattle team that, again, they had question marks on offense. No DK Metcalf.
Definitely.
No Lockett. Now you throw in Sam Darnold. But they have some players. They have two good backs, and Charbonnet and Murray. So I thought they kind of answered that bell and was like, hey, we're here, we're to play. And I think the other thing for the 49ers that you walk away and you get a little excited about, Ricky Pearsall goes over 100
No doubt.
yards.
Glad you brought that up. 100%.
That's not much out there.
No.
So I came into the game thinking like, all right, Seattle's going to make sure Pearsall isn't a weapon. You know, first you shut down McCaffrey and Kittle, and then I probably want to end up with my best corner matchup on him. And when you look at Woolen and you look at, all of these different guys that they have,
right.
I'm like, I kind of like Seattle in these matchups. So I think for San Fran, for all of the question marks that came in, you didn't answer all of them. And I think Brock Purdy's a guy that will be better week in and week out.
Right.
I think for some of these guys to step up and for them to play well on defense, that has to give them some confidence going in, because I actually had Seattle as a team that I thought could go win this division this year.
I hear you.
I was worried at first.
Right.
So I'm like, the Rams are still. And then all of the Stafford in the back, and is he 100%? I said, you know what? This is Seattle year, Mike McDonald year too. And San Francisco said, hold on. Like, we're not done yet. And I thought that was encouraging for them.
Yeah, definitely. A big win. I mean, on the road. You kind of felt like Seattle. I felt a little bit like Green Bay. Like, we're sick of the Niners beating us. We've had enough of that. It's our home opener. You're going to be motivated by that. Their defense in Seattle is real. I don't think we can, we got to say that. They are good. The 49ers never gotten a flow running the game. But I think your point, too. Ricky Pearsall, Kittle gets hurt. They rely on McCaffrey more in the passing game. Juwan Jennings going forward, I think, is going to be better because he's just getting back practicing after being missing training camp with the calf strain and all of that. So, yeah, I think within those, that was an encouraging win for the 49ers. But, yeah, with Kittle hurt, they're going to have to rely on Pearsall, Jennings, and McCaffrey even more going forward. They're still physical as hell. They are that. Their defense flies around. They played with the edge today. That's why you love Saleh and Gus Bradley being back there, because I do think they're going to, give some they're first off the inventors of the Seattle 3, and they're creative in how they can change it up. Just little nuances within the coverage to keep people a little honest that way. I think that's going to be big for the 49ers, but either way, big win there.
You nervous? Cooper Kupp, 3 targets, 2 catches for 15 yards. Like, how do they incorporate and get him involved?
He met a big drop on third down that I saw at one point in the third quarter, but I think that's the question I have about Seattle. Because I know we were all expecting the O-line to be better. I got to see it first. I know this was a tough opponent. Who is going to be – if there's holes, we know Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet can run through it. Jackson Smith and Jigma, they're going to feed him the ball. But like, there's going to be games where people are going to take him away. Yeah. Who's going to be the other guy that can take some pressure off the offense? That's kind of what is the big question for me with Seattle going forward. They'll bounce back. We know that. They're still a good football team, but that was a big win for the 49ers on the road. Way to go, Shanahan and John Lynch. Way to go. All right, another division rivalry. Yo ho, the Pirates' life for me. My Buccaneers, baby. The Buccaneers, 50th anniversary, defeating the Falcons down there in Atlanta on the road. And, there was for a while here in this football game, Tampa wasn't doing crap on offense, right? It was like Atlanta's not real special either. Atlanta wasn't throwing the ball anybody other than Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, he had the long
little swing pass that he broke for a 50-yard pass. So, yeah, it took a while, I feel like, for either one of these offenses to kind of break through. But in the big moments, as we saw, Baker Mayfield made a lot of big plays. And that's where Tampa Bay, I think, is scary. Like, they are a big play type of football team on both sides of the ball. And, it wasn't easy today, but either way, the Buccaneers getting that win, team that swept them last year, the Atlanta Falcons, and then Baker being clutch late in the football game to another Ohio State wide receiver, and Emeka Buka. That was the play of the day, the post over the top.
Yeah, the poise of Tampa showed out. I think if I'm Atlanta, you come in this game and you're like, all right, we get it. They got the veteran quarterback in Baker Mayfield. They won the division last year. But we feel like we fixed some of the things we didn't get done last year. We go in the draft. We draft 2 pass rushers. We're here now. We got a quarterback we believe in Michael Penix Jr. And then you're like, it looks like Tampa's got this game. Then at the end, Michael Penix Jr. makes 2 great plays, diving, staying up, getting the ball across the goal line or across the first down marker. And you're like, oh, here we go. Atlanta is going to come in here with Michael Penix Jr. and knock off Tampa at home, because last year, even though they swept them, both those games were Kirk Cousins. So for Michael Penix Jr., it reminded me a little bit of last year. He comes out there to go against Jaden Daniels in Washington, and it looks like at the end they make this drive to go win. Then Jaden Daniels gets the ball back and go win. And it's the same thing today. Baker Mayfield gets the ball back, and I was a little disappointed because I think for Jesse Bates, and I think for the way Baker Mayfield on his FaceTime with Jason Garrett talked about it, that's a big part of the NFL game. They're running the same play.
Yeah, that concept. They saw it.
You keep jumping it.
Yeah.
When you get back to the sideline, that's the time to look at the surface and to be like, hey, if I jump this, or someone tells Bates, Jesse, hey, if you jump this right here, look how this opens up. He jumps this again in a crucial part of the game.
I believe it was Evans running like a 10-yard in-cut, right? And then Ibuka was over the top on the post route.
No help. And you can see Mike Hughes at corner. He's expecting inside help. He weaves his leverage outside. He's outside leverage the whole time. And it was just too easy of a pass play for Baker Mayfield. You can't make those mistakes in that key part of the game, because that's what the good coaches do. They see it and they say, hey, there's going to be a moment where I'm going to need to pull this play back out. And they did it right there, and it was a game winner.
No doubt. The flip side of being a quarterback in that situation, and especially a guy like Baker who likes to throw the ball down the field, when he sees that on the tablet and he's going, man, if you call that again and I see him flat-foot or drive downhill, I'm throwing the post over the top.
And it's coming to you.
It's coming to you. And he threw it. It was on the money there. Buccaneers, it wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I question, hey, another team lost to Liam Cohn. That's a big deal. It's
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. They lose 2 coordinators. They did not run the ball all that effectively today. It's disappointing for Atlanta. I was, Atlanta, on the road, division rival coming in, new quarterback. You can make your statement doing that. They never got the run game going. The Bucs were all over that. And really, I was expecting more from the pass game. I'm going to tell you. I mean, Michael Penix looks good. Don't get me wrong. It's the scheme overall didn't seem to present any plays for itself. I never sat there watching the game today going, oh, he missed a wide open receiver, or ooh, that guy was wide open there and he didn't throw it to him. I mean, Drake London, he had a few moments, but it was few and far between. Kyle Pitts, same thing there. I mean, Bijan Robinson being the number 1 passing target, I hope that doesn't continue going forward. We didn't get Michael Penix and the big lefty laser arm to throw checkdowns to Bijan Robinson and swing passes. I think it'll get better. I don't doubt that, but it wasn't pretty in this first game.
Yeah, and one of the things stick out, like you just said, Drake London, 15 targets and only 8 catches.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to get the ball to him. And again, this is Zach Robinson, who comes from the Rams with Sean McVay, where he's an offensive coordinator. So I think we're all expecting this thing to look a little bit like what we see with Matthew Stafford. And maybe it will. And you always talk about this at some point, the training wheel aspect of, hey, take the training wheels off, and you got to give the young quarterback the offense. So maybe they're still in that kind of infant stage of how exactly do we want to make this offense look. But one of the things that sticks out for me with Atlanta is they're built on Drake London, guys like Kyle Pitts, these big, strong, not big separator
separate explosive play guys.
So to me, that's always going to be a little iffy. I think they got to find ways to get McLeod and Mooney.
That's why they need Mooney healthy.
Yes,
that's where Mooney opens the field up for those guys,
and
right?
I think that's the struggle in a game like today.
Right.
Where you talk about Robinson being the main focal point of the passing game. He's kind of your biggest mismatch. So you say, how do we get guys the ball in space? How do we get the ball to our best players? It's kind of going to him and giving him the ball. So I think that's something they'll have to figure out until Mooney's healthy. But, it's tough when you have these big, strong guys if you don't have the offense that kind of gets them the ball. You play against a team like Tampa that says, we like playing man-to-man.
No doubt. Right.
We have these 2 big corners in Jamel Dean and McCollum that we don't mind going out there and playing man-to-man with you.
Tampa's not going to let you run. If they do anything, I mean, we've talked about it, laughed before. People in Tampa have heard me say it. I mean, when he goes 5-man pressures all the time, he's still getting gashed in the pass game. It drives me crazy at times because he's old school. He's going to stop everything at the line of scrimmage first. Having said all that, damn, Atlanta had a chance to go down and tie the game. Michael Penix did a good job late in the football game, and Younghoe Koo misses the field goal. So we'll see where that goes. Koo, for his career, has been clutch as hell. Yeah. But last year had a few moments of like, a few cracks in the armor where you're like, is this going to continue or is this starting to get in his head a little bit? I mean, we saw in these division rivalries, we saw not only Koo shaky there, and then, of course, Moody with the 49ers is shaky and still a question mark, I think, going forward here. As we know, it's field goal kicking and special teams is a big part of the game.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
You can see.
Oh.
When these guys miss these kicks that are makeable indoors, perfect weather, you can see the frustration, whether it's the special teams coach, the head coach, to other players. That's what gets a little worrisome when you see that, especially for a guy like Moody, because it's like, here we go again. Is this in his head? Can he overcome it? That's a tough thing.
I was impressed with the Buka, even though it wasn't a huge day. Mecca Buka was one of the guys I questioned how good he would be in the NFL if he could separate, because he wasn't a big separation guy in college. But he found ways to get open today, and they're going to feed him the ball here, especially with no Chris Godwin early on in the season. All right, that was our division rivalry, division statement section there. We'll hit with a couple of QBs who escaped from New York. Right? One person's trash is another person's treasure. We'll be right back right after the break. Yo, 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 what's up? Chris Simms Unbuttoned. We're back. Chris Simms, Devin McCourty checking in. We're watching the Ravens and the Bill. We're watching Josh Allen run around and make plays as usual right now as we sit here, and we'll give you the recap later. It's 40-25 Ravens right now with 6 minutes and 43 seconds. But first one, and we got to hit on this a little bit because I feel like this is the most underrated great quarterback maybe in the history of football. And I feel like if most quarterbacks were going to throw for 60,000 yards, it would have been a big thing all week. Like, hey, this guy is almost going to throw. I didn't even know he was close to 60,000 yards until he threw it today. Matthew Stafford becomes the 10th quarterback in the history of the league to get to 60,000 yards. That's an incredible feat. I mean, he's a hell of a player. I don't know. How many times did you get to play against Stafford in your days?
Maybe only once. We played him early in my career, but he didn't play. He didn't play.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we played him in 2014 in New England, but we shut him down.
You crushed him. Yeah. Well, that was when the Lions were.
That was the whole put Revis on your second receiver and then double Calvin Johnson everywhere he was at.
Right.
But I fell into that a little bit too. Of like you talk about how underrated Matthew Stafford was, because I played him one time and we won the game. I was like, man, I don't understand the hype. Yeah, he gets a lot of yards and. Like, you actually go back and you start watching the games and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's really good. And I love that when Mahomes got into the league and he started doing all these different things, it also made people be like, hey, Matthew Stafford was throwing no-look passes. Matthew Stafford was throwing all these different arm angles. Like, he was a guy that was doing that. Just he wasn't winning.
Yeah, they weren't winning. That's right.
He goes to the Rams, and right away you're like, okay.
Oh, he's got some help around him?
Hey, Matthew Stafford, I apologize.
Exactly right.
I apologize.
Exactly right. Yeah. I can, I was one that always waxed poetically about him, and I kind of could see it. I'm watching quarterbacks, and I always, felt for him because I know he was in a bad team. I remember when the trade went down, and it was going on, and I was breaking him down a little bit, and I had people from the Rams reach out and be like, man, we're so glad to hear you say that because that's how we feel. That's why we traded him. Like, because I'm sure they were getting pushback from some people. Like, what's the big deal about Matthew Stafford? Jared Goff's gone to the Super Bowl, right? So, obviously, he's proven people wrong.
And he's always been that player that, there's players like that. And, I mean, obviously, the history of Detroit, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, of like, man, it'd be cool to see those guys
on a good team, right?
And we never got to see that with Barry and Calvin Johnson. I think Matthew Stafford has done that for any Detroit Lion, great player that they just couldn't get over that hump and win. And I think it, it's similar to some of the other guys, whether it's going to be Myles Garrett or these other guys that when you put them in the right situation, I think where Matthew Stafford sticks out is his leadership and what he does. When you're a great player on a bad team, sometimes it turns into, all he cares about the yards.
Right.
And Stafford has shown his time in the Rams, like, He wants to win.
Period.
And these games, like you watch this game against Houston, nothing was pretty about this game.
Not at all.
For the Rams on offense.
Right.
Like they couldn't get much going overall and get into a rhythm. But it was just like, okay, if we stay in the game long enough, Matthew Stafford will make a few plays that decides the game, and that's what happened.
It really was. It wasn't a pretty game. Rams win 14-9. It was a defensive struggle. But the Rams are the ultimate, first off, both teams, tremendous speed on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. That's the one thing that jumped out to me watching the game. I mean, man, both sides of them. They got people everywhere flying around the field. But the other thing, too, the Rams are like the ultimate hang-around team. They really are, right? They're kind of being outplayed. They're down 6-0. They're barely hanging on. And then there we go on 3 minutes and 30 seconds left somewhere in that time frame there late in the second quarter, and all of a sudden becomes, oh shit. Stafford and McVay cracked the code. Mm-hmm. They've realized how the Texans are playing them, and now all of a sudden you start to see explosive pass plays happen down in the field. And I feel like right around that time is when we start to see, oh man, Puka Nacua, they're getting them open like every other pass play. They score the touchdown before the half, right? And I know that the Texans go down and get a late field goal before the half, too, to make it 9-7, but I still feel like that touchdown changed the game around. And just work, I mean, the Texans, it just seemed like everything was work for them today. They never really got the run game going. C.J. Stroud, I thought he threw the ball well, but they just had a hard time finding explosive plays down the football field. He threw the one interception, which I don't know if you saw it, but I don't think it was an interception. I thought it was it hit the ground.
I remember you
it was a tough play on the sideline. They called it an interception on the field. It's one of those, what they called it incomplete. I think it would have stayed incomplete. Okay. It was like that. But all in all, in that game, we saw Nacua, we saw a little Devontae Adams, but just the clutchness of the Rams, as usual, hanging around, tough football, and then their defense just hanging on where Stroud, no big plays, no run game, forced the turnovers. They punch out, what was it, two fumbles? It was one from Ogunbowale, right, especially late in the game.
Interception.
Right,
fumble,
exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I missed the fumble. And the fumble there late in the football game, down by 5 points. Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there going, hey, Houston's got something going here. They punch it out, and then the Rams get it and lock up the game that way. But, I mean, these are two real good teams. It wasn't pretty offensively. I'm not down on the Texans. No. I'm not. I mean, I knew this was going to be a tough football game. But I am like, other than Nico Collins, I do think we got to see who that next guy is that's going to make plays for them on the offensive side of the ball.
Across the board. I think Joe Mixon and his absence is huge because if you remember last year, especially early in the season, we kept talking about this is a running team. Like Joe Mixon was carrying this team, running the ball, running hard. Now without him, you have Nick Chubb, you have Dameon Pierce, but how does this all factor in? Like Mixon was doing a little bit of everything for them last year. Is Chubb going to be the guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield? Like how is that all going to work out? Because again, C.J. Stroud, not a terrible game, but it hasn't been that kind of next level for C.J. Stroud.
Right.
And I will say, if you're a Texans fan, you have to have some patience. Nick Kelly comes in, C.J. Stroud, now a whole new offense is implemented this year that he's learning. So there's going to be a time that you have to get comfortable with the offense. Yeah, you'll know it, but I don't know if C.J. Stroud truly has ownership of it yet.
Yeah, not yet.
From me being around Nick Kelly, his time in New England, I talked to him last year. He was down with the Rams and what he learned from Sean McVay. The way New England was like, everything's built on ownership by the quarterback.
Yes, right.
It's all about the quarterback getting into the system, being comfortable. This is what I see. I don't like it. I check to something else. And I think for C.J. Stroud, that's going to take time because you talked about it before. He wasn't asked to do those things previously under Bobby Slowick. It was a lot of the center and the offensive line sliding, making the protections, doing all that. So I think for C.J., this offense will get better. They just have to be out there more and more. And then ultimately, like you just said, there has to be guys who step up. And I think Dalton Schultz is a guy that is a veteran player. Can they create some mismatches with him at the tight end?
Yeah.
Those are some things they got to try to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need Christian Kirk as we go forward. And they're going to need
he comes back.
Yeah, I know. And so hopefully they got him. And then they're going to have to rely, I think, on some of these, rookie receivers that they drafted. Whether it's Noel, who I didn't really see out there. I think he got one catch today. And then Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, the two Iowa State kids. They're gonna have to show up. Crazy fucking game that it was 14-9 with 12 minutes and 28 seconds left in the third quarter, and we got no more points after that. That's pretty crazy.
It is.
It really is. It says something about the defense.
Yep.
I mean,
that's how much that fumble hurt.
The fumble.
They were in scoring.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, I mean, I look at, we know the Texans defense was really good. The Rams defense we know was really good too. I guess I question their corners and their secondary a little bit. But, man, everything else, whether it's Braden Fisk, Verse, Byron Young, whatever, they got that. The front seven's disruptive. That's for sure. Big win for them. Good win for them. I mean, damn, Matthew Stafford barely practiced in training camp, and here they are 1-0 against the Houston Texans.
I do wonder how Houston felt about their offensive line play. They gave up 3 sacks,
Yeah.
but you were going against, I mean, those 4 guys up front that rushed for the Rams. So I do wonder how they walked away, the communication, all those different things. When they get in the meeting tomorrow, I do wonder, because that was a big issue coming off of last year. I wonder how they broke that down.
Yeah, we're gonna see. That's something you and I will evaluate as we go go along here. But the other thing too, Stroud made a few plays with his legs that got him out of trouble, and he can't be comfortable there yet. And we got to say, I mean, Chris Shule is a good D coordinator of the Rams, and the Rams do some stuff up front, so they're a pain in the ass. Big win for the Rams. All right. Now we go to one of my favorites right here. It's time for Hyundai. Hyundai, give me the headlines, okay? This is where I get in the printing press, and I come up with the headlines for the newspaper tomorrow, all right? So here we go. This is one of my favorites.
Do what you do, Simsy.
Okay, been in the lab? All right, here we go. Steelers, Jets, all right? First, I mean, gosh, does it get any better than that? All right, and hold on a second. Before I even get into that, the Ravens just fumbled. They're up by 8, and the Bills got the ball short field, 30-yard line. All right, Derrick Henry looks like it was him that fumbled. All right, we're getting back to Hyundai. Give me the headlines, though. All right, Steelers defeat the Jets 34-32, which was the shocker of all shockers, that high-scoring game. My headline is Escape from New York.
No, I like it because it's true.
It's good.
True.
It's good. I've had better, but it's good.
Almost like escape / thrown out of New York, right? Like escape is
kicked
one
out of the
thing where,
club.
like, you got to get out. You got to find no. They were like, hey man, get out, pack your bags, get out of here. And I love Aaron Rodgers went right at it. Like I'm happy about this. I want everybody on the Jets, anybody aligned, any of you love the Jets. If you work there, if you do one of the smallest jobs there, I wanted to beat you today, and I'm happy we did.
Yeah, he had no problem rubbing that in. Yeah, I mean, the team that made him fly across the country and gave him a 5-minute meeting and said, we don't want you anymore. I mean, that was a big win for the Steelers today. When they went down 19-10, I was just like, man, I don't know. This defense, I haven't seen Rodgers be that magical too many times over the last few years. I'm not sure if that's going to work, right? So that was the 19-10. This is why they got Aaron Rodgers, though. I mean, 19-10, they answer right back, go down the field, and get a touchdown before the half is over. He throws the 3-yard pass to Jonnu Smith. And that was the first time I felt like all day where I was like, oh, okay. All right, he's feeling comfortable. Like, Pittsburgh got a little something here.
Yeah.
He was feeding DK Metcalf, getting that going there. They didn't run the ball all that well. Their defense played like shit, really. I mean, I know they're better than what they showed today, but damn, I mean, the Jets did whatever they want all day long. When's the last time we talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers winning because of just their offense, right? I feel like it's been a while. We had some moments from Russell Wilson, where we went, oh, that looked good, but I don't know if we went, oh, they won because their offense.
I feel like it's got to be. We played against the Steelers in 2016 in the AFC Championship. That would be my guess. It was the last time that they won a game, and we were like, hey, man, they won because Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger. Like,
it was those teams.
It had to be 2016 time.
Yeah, I think so.
No, again, I think especially going into week 1, usually in the NFL, you talk about advantages go to the defense. Yeah. You can play fast, you can be aggressive. Offenses are trying to figure themselves out. And here you have a Pittsburgh Steelers offense you have a new coach, you have a new quarterback. You have a quarterback that, if you look at the origin of how that quarterback has played his whole career, doesn't necessarily match up with the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith.
Right.
You didn't get an offseason together. You didn't play in any preseason games. So it was like, what is this going to look like? And, guess what? You're going to play against a New York Jets defense that has been really good over the last few years. And, oh, yeah, they brought in Aaron Glenn, who's been a really good defensive coordinator. And Aaron Rodgers, they didn't blink. They went in there. And I thought what was really good, and we talked about it earlier, was the blend of him and Arthur Smith, of having some of those gun things where he's in the gun, he's seeing things, he's alerting, he's changing plays, but also some of those drop back passes that is, hey, hit your back foot, throw it. All right, play action, run. Like all of those different things that I think they did today. It reminded you a little bit of when LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers had some time together. And it kind of was like, hey, we tried your style, we tried just my style. Let's work together and figure this out.
I think we saw a combination of that.
And that's what it looked. And it looked good today for them.
It was Arthur Smith, except I feel like on a few third downs and things like that where they were like, all right, Aaron, if something crazy happens, audible to one of your plays and get us right here, right? For the most part, it was Arthur Smith. It was the first time I feel like in a while I saw Rodgers aggressive and just let it fly. Right, even and I'm not saying it was bombs away, but just Aaron Rodgers the last few years has been a little bit like, oh, he's open for 25 yards. Oh, wait, let me just check around and one more time and make sure nobody's there to intercept the ball or anything. Oh, he threw it. Oh, it was incomplete. And then he'd throw it short 5 times after that. That's what frustrated me about Aaron Rodgers. The biggest moment of the football game, though, I think hands down, right, is we are at 26-17. Rodgers drives them on a drive, right? 9-play, 68-yard drive where they go down the field to make it 26-24. And you go, okay, man, they're moving the ball. They look good. But the turning point was this. Xavier Gibson, the next kickoff, fumbles the ball, gives the short field to Rodgers, and he strikes almost right away. I think it's the second play. He hits Calvin Austin for the touchdown. And that was a hell of a turning of events there, because I do think as much as we're talking about, Rodgers looked good, DK Metcalf looked good, definitely, Calvin Austin looked good. So that was encouraging for the Steelers that there's like a pass game to rely on. I mean, again, I just go, man, I can't remember the last time talking about this like the Steelers, where you go, wait, they didn't run the ball, the defense didn't create 25 turnovers, and they still won the game? Like, how did they do that? This is a new age for, like, Pittsburgh. This is why you fucking waited for Aaron Rodgers. This is why. Because you don't win this game today with Mason Rudolph. I'm sorry. But on the other side, I do think we got to praise the Jets a little bit. We got to praise the Jets, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
And that's why you're saying that Gibson fumble was so big.
It was huge.
Because the Jets weren't getting stopped.
They couldn't stop him all day long.
So
right.
Breece Hall runs for over 100 yards. Justin Fields was running, making plays. He was throwing, making plays. So I agree with you. If you don't fumble right there, not to say you definitely score a touchdown, but they were getting first
the game's
down,
harder. Right.
You get back the momentum after a touchdown. But when you fumble right away without your offense even coming back on the field, that's what killed the Jets right there. But again, I think if you're a Jets fan, like, you haven't had a lot to get excited about. You get Justin Fields, and if we want to be honest, in the offseason, I don't think that was something where you're like, man, here we go. No, like, Justin Fields was we get Justin Fields, we'll lose, and then we'll get the quarterback we want.
There's a reason he's been on 3 teams in 3 years.
Exactly. He comes out there, he plays well. They're running the ball hard. Offensively look like the mentality of Aaron Glenn.
They look like what we expected Detroit to look like.
Exactly.
Right.
It was weird because the defense didn't look like the mentality of Aaron Glenn. But again, I think for Aaron Glenn, you say, defense, we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my calling card. But offensively, if we can do this week in and week out, it wasn't like Justin Fields had to throw for 400 yards, threw for a little over 200 yards.
Right.
But it was the plays he was able to make with his legs and the decision-making and being decisive that really helped that offense out.
No doubt about that. It was a really, I thought, well-called game by Tanner Eggstrand, the new OC, who came from Detroit, another one of those guys we talk about that was underneath Ben Johnson, that was part of their success and everything they had there as well. Right. But I mean, the Jets, not only Fields, some of the runs he made, impressive too. But, I mean, how could you not be happy that it was the Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson show? I mean, we see Garrett Wilson hit the deep cross for the touchdown early on. They fed him the ball. I mean, we haven't seen a ton of that in Garrett Wilson's career. Breece Hall was phenomenal today. He was the best player on the football field. Whether it was the run game, the screens he did. Yes, he jumps. He's a freak of nature. I mean, the Jets ran for 182 yards. You said it right. I think you said the exact right phrase. Their offense looked like Detroit Lions. The Jets' defense did not look like the Detroit Lions yet. Hopefully that'll get there. But still on that side. We during the game a few times, we were like, damn, Will McDonald McDonald's good.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Quinnen Williams, of course, always pops for them. I mean, always. I mean, they still got some speed there and everything there. The one thing I don't know, and I don't know if you peeped it a lot, how good did Sauce Gardner do? I didn't notice him getting beat or anything like that, and he's definitely going to be playing more man and on the island than he ever has in his history.
And I think that's something they're going to have to look at of how much they want to try to get Sauce Gardner to the action. I know they went and got Brandon Stevens 2 years ago going into the season. Brandon Stevens, actually going into last year, there's a lot of talk in Baltimore where Brandon Stevens was how do we keep him because he's really growing. And then you saw the way last season unfolded. He did not have a good season, and now he comes to the Jets. And I was told he had a really good training camp. And not to be too cynical, but I'm a big believer in when a guy had a bad year, I really don't care how his training camp goes.
Yeah, right.
Like there's a difference between training camp practices and joint practice and all that, and when the big lights come on and you get out there on a game day and we're game planning against you. We're now actually trying to run plays and get this guy against you and doing all that. And I didn't think Brandon Stevens, I didn't think he was the worst player in the world today, but I still felt like, they're attacking him a little bit.
Right.
There's a key pass interference again right there.
Right.
And I think those are the things for the Jets of how do we get Sauce Gardner in as many of those situations? We're paying him all this money now. We want him to be the guy they have to attack. Hey, maybe we go and we double team Stevens on that side and we tell you, hey, we're going to shift all coverage opposite Sauce Gardner. You have to throw over there. I think when you have these corners who are so good, you have to force teams to throw the ball and attack them. I played with Stephon Gilmore for a few years, and our defense used to be predicated, me at safety, leaned all the way on the other side of the field, daring you to throw it that way. And I think the Jets are going to have to implement some of that in their game plan to make sure the heat goes on Sauce Gardner because that's why he is who he is.
Yeah, no question about that. I hear you there. All right, Switch B, he says, damn, okay, Arthur Smith. Bro convinced Aaron Rodgers to run and trust the offense, and Aaron delivered. Yes, that's right. He did. And he was tough in the pocket. Rodgers still looks at the rush a little much, but still found the way today to, even when the doors were closing and everything was closing in on him, he looks at the rush, but he still kept his eyes downfield a few times. I thought that was encouraging, right? And also in that, if you're the Steelers, I mean, again, a new age. Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey with the big play at the end of the football game. We got to give him credit there. Now, my man Tomas Pena, he wants to ask this. Why did the Steelers defense look so underwhelming? Steelers defense got pushed around. That Jets O-line, let me just say this, is good. The Jets O-line, I mean, it's what do we got? 3 first-rounders and a second-rounder? I mean, they got some people there for sure. So I thought they had their way with the Steelers D-line. And I said this a few weeks ago on the pod. It's just that the Steelers, it did concern me in the Panthers' third preseason game. The Panthers ran the ball down their throat. And we'll see. I mean, again, there's some unproven commodities there in their front seven, especially the big people. Cam Hayward's a year older, so we'll see where that goes. But either way, the escape from New York for Aaron Rodgers, it worked well in this one. Go ahead.
Before we move on, I just want to add to that question about the defense.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with Pittsburgh is from their linebacker position, they're athletic freaks. When you look at Peyton Wilson and you look at Patrick Queen, they're not real thumpers,
right?
Run downhill,
right? Fill the hole, take out a lead blocker,
exactly.
Right.
We play against offenses like the Jets who say we want to run and we want to run downhill. I think that gives this Pittsburgh I think that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Now they usually do a good job when they play Baltimore and have to do that, but I think that's sometimes an issue for them.
All right. Move to the next next game on the Hyundai. Give me the headlines. Wait till you hear this headline. All right, this one's a doozy. All right, we got Colts at Dolphins, right? And this headline is Escape from New York. Part 2. You like that right there? Because Danny Dimes, he got his ass out of New York, and look what he did today. I mean, holy crap. Are we going to have another Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, right? Sam Darnold type of story here with Daniel Jones, where he goes to a team that can help him out a little bit, and all of a sudden we're going to go, oh, wait, he's pretty good. Or like his counterpart in New York, Saquon Barkley, yeah, he's pretty good, but they should have never drafted him at number 2. He's kind of a bust. He goes to a team, and it's like, oh, is he the best running back we've seen in 20 years? I don't know, right? But Daniel Jones, I couldn't be happier for him because I think he got unfairly crapped on in New York at times with not a lot of help around him. Today, I mean, early on, we watched it. It was one big pass after another. I mean, it was the passing game and Daniel Jones attacking down the field with Pittman and Tyler Warren and Alec Pierce, and what I would say is one of the more underrated skill guys in all of football right now is that Colts offense, of course, with Jonathan Taylor on the O-line too. I mean, at the running back too.
I mean, for Daniel Jones, you're in New York and you're like, oh man, I got Saquon Barkley. Oh man, I got Saquon Barkley. Oh yeah, I got Saquon Barkley again. Now you go in Indy, like, all right, Jonathan Taylor. Okay, we go get Tyler Warren. All right, I got Josh Downs. I got Alec Pierce. You got all of these players that you now can throw the ball to. And what I love is they approach the game of, we're going to be aggressive. Daniel Jones is going to make plays, and we're going to keep attacking. And that's what you saw. They attacked. They were all over the Miami Dolphins defense. And I'm sure going into it, when you watched the Dolphins in the preseason, you paid attention to injury after injury. The secondary was all kind of mashed together of different players that come that they didn't really expect to be out there. And I thought Shane Steichen said, you know what, we're going to take advantage of that. This defense isn't a defense that I would call a good defense. I know there's some faith in that front seven of, the pass
the
rush,
edge
the
guys.
names,
Yeah,
guys
right. But is Jalen Phillips really 100%?
Yep,
Bradley Chubb's getting a little older, right?
And is he 100%?
I know, exactly right.
I thought the Colts took full advantage of that.
It was an ass whooping.
Yeah.
It was an ass whooping. I mean, they out-coached them. They out-physicaled them. They did everything. They obviously cracked the code and the scheme on the defensive side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, the Colts defense was also impressive.
Shout out Lou Anarumo.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo, right? I mean, another guy, got run out of Cincinnati for the wrong reasons. I mean, let's not look at the roster and go, oh, actually, there's not a lot of good defensive players there. Let's fire the coach. But he goes there. We saw free blitzers. We saw creative coverages. They changed it up a lot. And I think the big thing, too, is Tua never looked comfortable, right? I mean, again, I think you and I are on the same thought of, I think the league's caught up to Miami's offense a little bit.
Yep.
Right? So many they've seen it for a few years now. Everybody has stolen a few plays from Miami. So even when you play another team, you're going, "Oh, that's the Miami plays. That's what they do there." Right? So there's that aspect as well. And then I think the other aspect that has led to the downfall is that they play a game where they don't want Tua to hold the ball too long and throw the ball down the field. So teams are just like, "We're not going to back up." Did they really ever attack down the field once today? I don't remember one real shot down the field.
You're right.
What's the point of having Tyreek Hill and all this speed if we're going to throw 5- and 6-yard passes? I think that's a little concerning. They got their ass whooped today, plain and simple. They were out physicaled, out emotioned, out intensity, whatever you want to say there. It was not a good look for the Miami Dolphins. And yeah, I'd be a little worried about how that looked right there. And hey, the Colts are one of those teams I kind of chickened out where I was like, oh, they kind of have some playoff caliber things I like, but I didn't have the guts to pick them.
AFC South might be a little more interesting.
Yeah, they showed some edge today, and I think the world of Shane Steichen, and now if Lou Anarumo can do that on that side, and then we know running the football, Jonathan Taylor was affected today. Cincinnati, I mean, the Colts might be a real pain in the ass for everybody in the AFC.
I talked to my brother after the game. He called the game, and he said Tua was never comfortable. He was confused the whole game. He couldn't figure out what exactly the defense was doing. It looked like it was blitzing, but then they would drop a defensive lineman, so it was just 4 guys coming, confuse them. Really good play calling by Lou Anarumo.
Bad interception, throwing it high over the middle, right? The other's interception, he doesn't see Latu dropping back in zone coverage, throws it over the middle, gets picked out, got strip sack. Yep, that's right. They got some free blitzers. Really good job by the Colts on a day where they honored Jim Irsay and all the legends were in town, so that was cool to see. But man, that running game tied with Tyler Warren, and then Daniel Jones is going to keep him out of bad situations. He's going to hit the majority of the throws. If they're there, he's going to hit them, right? And they're a little sneaky that way with what they got there. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Escape from New York Part 2. If you need me to figure out your headline somewhere, just let me know. I'll figure that out, all right? That was Hyundai. Give me the headlines. damn, I'm
getting
good.
nervous about our pick over here.
Oh, all right. So we got another thing here. The Ravens are absolutely blowing this game right now. I don't know any other way to say it.
They might have blew this game.
They blew. They Derrick Henry fumbles. Josh Allen scores. They get a quarterback sneak for a touchdown. They don't get the 2-point conversion. Baltimore gets the ball back. They go 3 plays and out. Buffalo had 3 timeouts. Josh Allen's made magic here, and they're about to hit the game-winning field goal to win this one 41-38 with my old buddy Matt Prater, who I played with the Denver Broncos. I hope he hits it and I didn't jinx him. Oh, my gosh, it was close. Oh, my gosh. Hamilton almost blocked it.
Yeah.
Hamilton, who had a hell of a game. This unreal game right here. Ravens blowing an early season game once again is incredible. All right. And I don't know, do we want to go to a break and recoup, or do we just want to keep it going? Let's keep it going.
We talked about this. The Baltimore Ravens, the reason they don't win, their best players don't show up in the moments they need. Derrick Henry is unbelievable. 30 years old. Looks like he can still play another 5 years. You can't fumble up in a game. And it just blows my mind. It's not one person. It's something to me that the way the Baltimore Ravens are built and how they are day in, day out, and what they're doing, there seems to be something that it just doesn't show up. They talked about going into the game today. Coach Dungy said it. They said they have the Raven claw. And then we watched 2 guys fumble the ball, or 3 guys fumble the ball.
Right.
And some of them over just arms got
Nothing.
tapped.
Things we looked at that were not that special.
That to me is alarming for Baltimore, for you to go into a season after you have the divisional game in Buffalo kind of wrapped up, and the only thing you do is, like Derrick Henry said before the game, self-inflicted wounds, and then you come out here Sunday Night Football, opening the season, and you do the same exact thing.
That's incredible. Let me get this straight. 22-6, they outscored the Baltimore Ravens in the fourth quarter.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I mean, Lamar Jackson played really well, but the defense just falls apart at the end. I mean, we were at a point here in this football game where it was 27-13. The Bills were desperate, and on a 4th and 5 went for it. Josh Allen had nobody open. He floats back. He throws a deep crosser. Jair Alexander is not looking. If he just looks, he's going to intercept the ball. Instead, he tackles the receiver. I believe it was Khalil Shakir on the play. Tackles him. They get PI. Yep. They get 1st and goal from the 2. A play or 2 later, James Cook scores, right? And you felt like, okay, I mean, that was desperation. Okay, they scored to make it 27-19. Good job. The Ravens go right down the field again. DeAndre Hopkins gets the one-handed touchdown. And you go, damn, that's 34-19. All right, they're going to be good. They can't be stopped either. But Buffalo goes down, makes it 34-25, right like that. 8 plays, 84 yards in 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Then we get the Derrick Henry big run for the touchdown to make it 40-25. 10-play, 80-yard drive in 3 minutes by the Buffalo Bills. Fumble by Derrick Henry. 4-play, 30-yard drive touchdown, Josh Allen. And then Baltimore does nothing, and he drives them down again and makes a big play and a big throw. Josh Allen, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns on the night. Here's the biggest thing. You and I already talked about this. We're gonna hit this here. We're gonna hit that. I got you. But no, this is what bothers me more than anything about the Ravens and what we just saw. Because one guy just took over the game late in the game, and it was Josh Allen. And why is that? I mean, first off, the Ravens' pass rush was an issue. They got close to Josh Allen tonight. But you and I were talking before we started the show, why do they play 3 D tackles on 3rd and 18 or 3rd and 12? They got 3 big guys in there. It's the modern-day NFL. You got to put – I mean, you got to have 3 pass rushers on the field. Yeah. You got to have guys that are speed to run down Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. The Baltimore Ravens were close all night, but close doesn't mean shit in this game right here. And he made plays just like continually getting out of the pocket where you're like, oh, he's going to get strip sacked, but they could never get there, and then he'd make the big throw. Problem for the Baltimore Ravens that way.
We talked about it before the game. We talked about how do you defend these 2 quarterbacks. And I said it, you got to be aggressive, but you have to have speed on the field. And for Buffalo's defense, they didn't play great tonight at all. And what a lot of the times is because they got trampled. But Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, these dudes can run.
They can run.
Ed Oliver at the defensive tackle spot can run. And Lamar Jackson made some plays early in the game. Later in the game, he wasn't able to make some of those off-platform crazy plays because they have enough speed out there. Baltimore still should have won this game because Buffalo doesn't have the big guys, and that is what it is. Baltimore has some other guys out there with speed. We kept talking about, why isn't Mike Green out there a little bit on obvious passing situations? I get it. He's a rookie. You don't want to give him all at once. But I'm watching and I'm just like, you telling me he can't be your third pass rusher in there? Move Van Noy inside, put him on the edge, do some different things that now when Josh Allen is escaping, you have somebody to get to him because some of those plays he was able to make down in the secondary was because he was buying time. And we talked about their scrambling abilities, and you said it. You said one of the things that we don't talk about is these dudes can still throw the ball all over the field, whether they're in the pocket or they move around and create a new pocket. And I thought that's what stuck out for Baltimore. It has to be disappointing for them as a defense to come in, and the only person to me that stuck out tonight really was Kyle Hamilton. He flew around and made some plays, but at certain points in the game, it felt like if Kyle Hamilton doesn't make the play,
nobody made it.
Nobody makes it.
No, I don't think anybody was overall that impressive on the Baltimore defense tonight, other than Hamilton. I'm with you there. This is 3 years in a row. We're kind of talking about the Ravens early in the year, going like, "What the hell is going on? Their defense, they can't. They do dumb stuff. Or they not know what's going on?" Josh Allen's incredible, right? I mean, Lamar. They're both incredible. Don't get me wrong. I know, but like. I don't even. You tell me if you agree. They put everything on Josh Allen. I think that's a little bit of the difference, right? There's the Ravens are good everywhere. Where I feel like they can go a few drives and go, hey, we're just going to run the ball, and Lamar he's scary he can keep the ball off the edge, but like with the Bills, they have games like tonight. They weren't running the ball like Baltimore was. It just becomes put Josh in the shotgun. He'll get us in the right play. He'll make the right read, and if he doesn't, he'll extend the play and make the right play anyways, and we'll hang around. McDermott kind of plays through it. He goes, he's awesome. Let's just be aggressive. Fourth down, we'll go for it, and it's unreal that way. I don't know if that's sustainable to win the Super Bowl. That's what they kind of do every year here with us. They kind of they fool us with this stuff. And I don't know if that's great team play that to have to ride one guy that hard. But either way, it's going to be encouraging for Buffalo. Allen was really good. Keon Coleman popped a lot tonight. We know Shakir. We saw Dawson Knox and Kincaid and everybody there. That was impressive. And here's one big moment here too. And Matt Casey, he's sitting here around us too, helping us out too, because we're watching, we're doing a show, he's got it all. Here, listen to this stat. The Ravens have now lost 8 games since 2021 season in which they had at one point had a win probability of at least 90%. 90. I mean, they were up 34-19. Yeah. They're up 40-25 with a team with that offensive line and that quarterback that usually think, well, that's going to put you away.
Isn't that a stick out though? Just the difference of mentality. Here we have this Buffalo Bills team where it's like...
They just fight and scrap and claw for everything.
Yes, whereas Baltimore is like, they have tough players, don't get me wrong.
But they seem to be a bully.
Yeah.
We're winning and we're punching you. We're awesome when we throw haymakers. But when you hit us back, hold on a second. Wait, you're not supposed to hit us back. We're supposed to knock you out.
Because I would have loved for that last drive after Josh Allen scores and they don't get the 2-point and now you have a 2-point lead. To me, for the Baltimore, we got to end with the ball.
Right.
Like, we need to end with the ball.
That's where we got to go here. That's where, because that jumped out to me watching this, and this is something we're going to have to break down on Tuesday, homies. Like, when I get to watch film and really get into this, I'll get it all. But the last drive, they're driving down. The Bills have no timeouts. The Ravens still have their timeouts. He throws a big pass to Keon Coleman. I mean, at some point, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. You're down 40-38, all right, or you're up 40-38, but you haven't stopped Josh Allen the whole quarter. He's moving down the field once again. To me, it's a shit or get off the pot moment. Blitz everybody and make negative plays happen, or let him score a touchdown. They do blitz, I believe. He throws a pass to Keon Coleman down the middle for a big gain, and I just want to make sure I get this straight here. He's got him down the middle, right? And within that, okay, I just want to get this. Just hang in there with me. All right, here it is. He's got Keon Coleman and Jair Alexander. He's going to go for a touchdown. He trips him up as he's about to score.
It's
hard. Well, nobody probably told him. I mean, they're thinking they're playing
too.
tough defense.
Yeah, yep.
They're not being told, so I'm not mad at him.
Yeah,
but I saw the play, and Matt Casey gave me the note, and I was like, yeah, that was crazy. There was 40 seconds left in the game. They had their timeouts, but I think at some point there, you got to make the call of going, we're either going to go crazy aggressive and get them to go negative plays and not be able to kick the field goal, or they score and get a touchdown, but at least Lamar Jackson and our offense get the ball back again. I thought that was something that they blew down the stretch.
How about the series before that?
Right.
That to me, if I'm Harbaugh, and to me, Harbaugh and the Ravens are one of the few teams that I think on both sides of the ball on paper, when you come in,
right,
you feel pretty good about both sides.
Right.
But now the game is going on.
Yeah.
To me, after Josh Allen and they score,
to make it 40-38.
Nate Wiggins breaks up the 2-point conversion to Coleman in the corner of the end zone. I'm sitting there as a coach. I'm getting on, and I'm going to Todd Monken. We need our best stuff. I don't want to go back on defense.
You can't come out on you got to, in that situation right there, you can't run the ball to the left with Derrick Henry for 1 yard. I totally agree with you here. First down is the play you come out and get a play action pass, whatever, a big play to give yourself, extra yards, first downs. But they're going to be playing the run.
They have to.
So they run Derrick Henry to the left in that moment for 1 yard. Buffalo takes their first time out. The next play, 2nd and 9, they run Zay Flowers around the right end, right? They give him a little speed sweep.
And he dives on the floor as soon as the defense gets there.
Exactly right, and he slides. Okay, so then that's Buffalo timeout number 2. And then 3rd down, they pass the ball, and we know they're going to do that. He hits Hopkins. It's 3rd and 8 for a 6-yard gain. Buffalo 3rd timeout, and the rest is history. And then Josh Allen magic happens from there.
And we all knew that, though. As soon as they got to stop, it's like, because I would have felt the same way if the roles were reversed and Lamar Jackson got the ball. It's just like, if I'm Buffalo, I'm trying to go win this.
Woo, man, Buffalo, 2 times in a row where you felt like they were the better team. The Ravens up in Buffalo. You felt like the Ravens were better than the Bills, and the Bills find a way to win the football game. I think your point about something, I don't know if it's accountability on your big players, being a little tougher on your football team. I don't know what it is, but this does seem to happen a little too much, and their best players seem to make mistakes in a lot of big moments. And I don't know what that is. There's a part of me that thinks like, man, Belichick was hard on all the great players. My dad came from Bill Parcells, who he was hard on all the great players except for Lawrence Taylor. He got a free pass, but he was so great. It was like, okay, he can do whatever he wants. But he was hard on everybody. I do wonder if maybe they're missing some of that in Baltimore.
Even throw the Chiefs. Throw Andy Reid in there.
Andy is tough on them.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. There's no nonsense there.
That's where consistency shows up. It doesn't mean it's the only way to win.
Right.
But if you want to be a team that you have a shot to win year in and year out, and when the biggest moment happens to actually close the deal to win, that to me is where you got to not just hold people accountable like, hey, I'm going to come up to you, but publicly. Like, if this is a true team, then I got to hold you accountable in our team meeting room the same way I would hold our second-string linebacker who's only going to play 5 defensive snaps and play all special. If I'm going to hold him accountable in front of everybody, I got to hold Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. And I just wonder, how does that work? Because I think in the past, Harbaugh didn't maybe have to hold, like Ray Lewis.
Yeah, they held themselves accountable.
I've done things. I got to do Family Feud with Ed Reed, and Ed Reed was over there, our captain, coaching us up, holding people accountable in Family Feud. So I know he was doing that. So I just wonder, how does that work inside the Baltimore locker room of who's actually saying, hey, this has to be done.
Right.
And I don't care if you're embarrassed, if your feelings are hurt, we got to address this and address it now. And I think this moment, to come back another season to have that, if you address that right now and you go and you attack it, that could be a game-changing thing for them where now going forward, maybe they do finish those plays. Yeah,
it's crazy. Derrick Henry, 107 career rushing TDs, okay? He passes Jim Brown for 6th all-time today. And listen to this stat from at Josh Dubois from the Associated Press, I believe, right? AP, is that what we're talking about there? All right. Josh Allen is the 6th QB ever with 400-plus yards passing and a rushing TD, right? And what's this say? And then so 4 total TDs, 0 turnovers, and a Week 1 game. Dak Prescott did it in 2019 versus the Giants. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 2018 versus the Saints. Andrew Luck, 2016 versus the Lions. Peyton Manning, 2013 versus the Ravens. I think we all remember that game. And then
there you go,
Simms. And hey, Josh, you got the year wrong. It was 84, okay? I know that, all right? 84 opening game, Eagles. That was Big Phil throwing for 400 yards. But other than that, Josh, that was a great tweet. Appreciate the information. I mean, that was unbelievable there. I still have concerns about Buffalo. I don't know how you could feel good about their defense. I feel better about the Ravens' defense fixing their issues than the Bills. But the Bills are just scary as hell regardless. McDermott's a hell of a coach. And with that guy at quarterback, they're almost in every game with how they play, their aggressiveness, and their style of play. Pretty
Josh
impressive.
Allen said, who wasn't the MVP last year?
Right. He
Hold
did.
that.
He got the last laugh right there. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to catch our breath there. I got a lot of shit going through my head right now. We're going to finish up the rest of week 1 when we come back after this. It all happened, of course, during Hyundai. God give me the headlines too, where I was like, "Oh, I feel bad about
this." If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even. I'm over here like the game's over, and Casey's over there like.
It's unbelievable. All right, we're back at Simms Unbuttoned, and we got to finish the rest of the damn week. I mean, damn, it's we've had a lot of stuff to talk about, and that Ravens-Bills game threw us off. That's going to do a hell of a rating for the old company there at NBC. That game going that late with those quarterbacks being that competitive, that was awesome.
Thriller.
All right, we're at segment 3. We're going to call this segment Too Close for Comfort, all right? And we had some clear favorites this weekend going into some football games. Right, but there was some of these favorites had to really sweat it out. Let's start with the Bengals and the Browns.
Which we expected.
It's the
Bengals.
Because this is the way it goes. But I honestly, I will say, after the first drive, I just went, okay, the Bengals, they've been a new team in the preseason. Yep. Maybe they're going to keep the foot on the gas pedal. The offense looks good. Maybe it's going to be a new thing. No, negative Ghost Rider. I mean, after the first drive, they didn't do jack shit, really. I mean, it was Strugglesville. Other than one kind of short field touchdown drive, they got to make it 14-7 at one point. But I think this is a game that, I mean, if you didn't know the scoreboard or anything there, I'd go, well, yeah, Cleveland was a better football team today. Cleveland matches up well with Cincinnati. With the way they play defense, they got some corners at the outside that can cancel out Higgins and Jamar Chase just a little bit to where they play good against them. They do some different stuff up front to keep Joe Burrow off balance that way. And I am always one that I always say this, and this is probably the third year in a row I'm going to say it early in the year. I think the Bengals are too simple on offense early in the year. I do. I think they're too rooted in like the basic West Coast offense type of plays where I feel like guys like Jim Schwartz who have been around, they kind of know the rules of that. And I think that's one of the reasons we see the Bengals always get better is because the offense expands, and then I think they also are very good at, once they start to feel how defenses play everybody, they're good at breakdowns to where they know how to get to the right plays all the time. But, man, I mean, this was there for the taking for the Cleveland Browns today. There's no question about that.
But what I do appreciate with Cincinnati was their approach the last few years was not playing in the preseason. I do like they said, you know what? We're going to play in the preseason. Not that solves anything, but I think it helps your mentality. So coming into this game, you don't play your best ball. You're playing against a divisional opponent that I think for them coming in, as much as we're like, man, it's Cincinnati, Cleveland, they're like, hey, this is going to be a tough game. It's a divisional game. They always play us tough. But I think the mentality shift is what allowed them to win this game today. Usually, they still fell short in these games. Last year, they opened against New England. The game wasn't pretty, and they had way more resources, weapons than New England, and New England found a way to win, where I thought today, even when it wasn't going well, they found a way to win. Yes, the 2 interceptions they got, neither one were Flacco's fault. But the ball tips off a guy, off Jerry Jeudy, off Tillman.
Yeah.
You don't have to finish those catches, but the ball gets tipped up. They're aware. They get the interception. So I will give them that credit of I still don't think their defense is very good. I think Lou Anarumo, we said it earlier, I think he got scapegoated and was like, hey, you get out, you're the issue. They bring in Al Golden, another good coach. So, it's not like you're going to just watch a total breakdown. But let's be honest, this Cleveland offense – with Joe Flacco at the helm, they're still putting pieces together. This wasn't an offense that we
expected like going to break records.
Exactly. I do want to see what this defense looks like, and I'm sure they walk away saying, hey, it's only week 1. We're going to get better. But I do worry still about this defense.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't think you can look at the defense and go, oh, they're okay. I mean, yeah, it was a good performance, certainly, but I think they were a little fortunate to your point there. I mean, they couldn't get off the field against the Browns. Yeah. The Browns were going on a 16-play, 67-yard drive with 9 minutes and 50 seconds to make the game 7-7. I mean, it was a little bit of that the whole day. The Browns outgained the Bengals 327 to 141 yards. There was not a lot of explosive plays or big plays at all from this Bengals offense. Now, I got faith that the Bengals offense will turn it around. I know that. And this Browns defense, like you said, it's good. Yeah. And they match up well with them. And Schwartz is creative on that side of the ball. But Flacco, both interceptions, I don't want to put either one of them on him. He kind of threw them off target deliberately, throwing it away from the defender, and the receivers screwed him over. Plain and simple. We got Jerry Jeudy dropped the 4th and 5 pass. Remember that? They missed the chip shot field goal as well. I mean, the Browns brown today. They really did. And the PAT early on in the game, right? Or to make instead of going up 17-10 and went 16-10, right? So we would have had a tie football game. Browns blew this one. They did. I will give the Bengals credit, like you said, for hanging around, being tough. But this is one where I feel like, hey, credit to you, but you didn't look like you were the better team on the football field. And I also think we got to talk about Myles Garrett again. I mean, Myles Garrett was phenomenal. It really was.
It's so impressive because coming into the game, you're like, we got to block Myles Garrett. We're going to chip him. We're going to have the back hit him. We're going to have the tight end hit him. He moves around a little bit, but no matter where it's like it's just constant pressure. It's remarkable. And, again, I mentioned it earlier. I think he's one of these guys that's going to fall into – I know he's made a lot of money, got paid, where we're going to finish his career and be like, man – I just wish he could have played somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just not in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. We saw it with Joe Thomas.
Right.
Watched Joe Thomas for years. And again, is Joe Thomas regretting anything? Maybe not. Made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Right. Yeah.
Legend in Cleveland. Doesn't buy a drink in Cleveland not one time. But it's just like, I would love to see these guys in an AFC championship in a big moment in the playoffs making these plays, but we'll just have to enjoy Myles Garrett during the regular season.
Yeah, that's going to be the way it is. And the Bengals next week at the Jaguars, we'll see where they go. That'll be their home opener. But, man, that was an ugly win, but good for them, a win nonetheless. And, yeah, it was one that I think we both feel like the Browns had chances to control that football game. Another interesting game, going out west, right? The Broncos versus the Tennessee Titans. I think everybody – me included, I thought the Broncos would win this easier than 20-12. Yeah. I certainly did.
Rookie quarterback.
Right, rookie defense. Quarterback. Right. I think I picked at 27-13. But one of the things I said is I think that Tennessee will hang around. I do think that the public forgot that the Tennessee Titans had the number 3 defense in football last year, or the number 2 defense, if I'm mistaken there. They were a pain in the ass today. Right. This was a game where I kind of looked at it where, yeah, they hung around. It felt like Denver early on didn't give the respect to the Tennessee defense. They were almost like, no, we're going to show you. Bo Nix was like, I'm going to put on a show. This is my unveiling in my second year. Watch out. It was a little too careless with the football, a little too aggressive against a really good Broncos defense. But regardless, as the game went on, you said it, it's Cam Ward. The Colts, the Titans just had too hard of a time manufacturing plays and offense and that side of the ball. And ultimately, that was the biggest problem in the game and why the Broncos won the football game.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because these things happen in your day-to-day life. I'm in the barbershop, and the guy's a diehard Titans fan. I'm like, man, it's going to be a tough outing. You got the Denver Broncos week 1, and then we're watching the game, and it's like, it's a tough outing for both these teams.
No question.
Tennessee is sticking around.
Right.
And, again, a big moment in the game was, I think it was like 40-something seconds, and you kept calling out when we were in the viewing room of the Titans. You're like, it's 6-3. You're ecstatic. Run the ball, going at, and it's 1st and 10, and they throw the ball, and then they get sacked on the half-inch line, and now they have to punt the ball back to Denver.
That's right.
And they give up points, and it was just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, you could have avoided this whole situation. So I get worried for young head coaches when you come in and kind of like, yeah, Cam Ward, you're going to try to do all those things as a quarterback guru, but time management, understanding the flow of the game, those are ultimately the things that you rely on your head coach to do. Your quarterback and your offense, that's what your coordinator is, what you want him to do. You want your head coach to be the guy who understands games, situational football. And I thought the Titans, that was a big moment to handle that with a young quarterback, with a young team, as you're trying to teach them how to win. And I didn't think that was a good decision.
No, I would agree with you there. They go into the half at 10-9, right? At one point, the Titans were up 12-10 in the football game, and you're going, oh my gosh, are they going to steal this? Whatever. Bo Nix throws an interception, a second interception in the game where I don't know if you ever saw the replay, but he's got a guy deep. He's got a guy deep. He makes the wrong read. I think he was a little gun shy, honestly, because he had made some mistakes. He had already been strip sacked once. He had thrown the interception, and I think he was trying to take care of the football. But that's what happens as a quarterback. Sometimes you make a few mistakes, and then you're afraid to be aggressive going forward, right? And you don't want to make another mistake. You don't want to hear the coach get on you like that. So he throws that interception. We had the Marvin Mims drop the punt return, right? And that was right before. That was
early, right?
That might have been right before halftime.
Okay.
Right? Am I right about that? Pete can look that up there for sure. We got so many damn games in my head here, right? Because at the half, Titans got the huge kick return. That's what I'm getting wrong. They had the huge kick return down 10-6 after all the things you just explained there that allowed them to kick a field goal to make it 10-9, right? Calvin Ridley had a few big drops in the game late in the football game. I thought Cam Ward, he looks the part. He can buy time. He's poised and calm and relaxed, and his arm, to me, pops off the screen. They're not a great offense. They don't have a great amount of talent around them. I mean, they're going to ride Ridley and Tony Pollard. I mean, those are the two guys there. I don't know if that's going to be enough for them going forward. All in all, Denver gets the win. I think it will be better going forward. I like the way Bo Nix looked today. I just think he was a little too loose with the ball. And then we got to see R.J. Harvey with the big run late in the football game. And hopefully that's something that happens where I was a little shocked that J.K. Dobbins got so many of the carries, right? Something happened in the last week or two where I felt like R.J. Harvey was going to be the guy, and then all of a sudden I don't know if they didn't trust him or whatever, but J.K. Dobbins became the guy here. But I would think Harvey gives him a better chance to make more explosive plays and big plays in the run game, at least going forward. Either way, Broncos get the win, tough, gritty win, 20-12. Nothing really more to say to there. Broncos defense is awesome. Those are going to be two of the best defenses in football. I don't have any doubt about that. And the Titans got a really good secondary, just like the Broncos. The Broncos are special up front. Titans are good up front, but they're not the Broncos up front. 20-12, Broncos really damn good football team. We'll move to the next game. Cardinals Saints, 20-13 Cardinals. Cardinals are. We know the Saints are kind of in a rebuild mode. Starting Spencer Rattler, quarterback. They do have an O-line. That's one thing I look at them and go, that could be a problem going. Yeah, right. And drafted some young guys there, right? Spencer Rattler did make some plays. We saw Juwan Johnson. We saw Olave here and there, right? They had some chances at the end of the football game to tie it up.
And it's so funny how the narrative changes off one play.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler drives. The whole time we're in the screening room and this game, in our screening room, we have 10 TVs or whatever. In this game, me and you are on the left side of the room. This game's all the way on the right side. And Jason Garrett the whole time is like, are we looking at this Saints game? The Saints are moving. The Saints are moving. And Spencer Rattler throws one up to Juwan Johnson, and it's a high ball. He goes and he gets it at the point, but when he hits the ground and it comes out, and I think we walk away from this game. If he catches that ball, you're like,
yeah, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe the Saints, maybe this isn't a true rebuild where they're going to win 4 games or something. Maybe they have something. Not to say that the Cardinals are world beaters, but I think there's a level of confidence for the Cardinals coming in of, okay, you have Gannon there. You guys drafted some of the right pieces. All right, it's time to put this thing on paper and actually produce. And they had some good moments. They were leading in the game, and it just felt like, oh, man, here we go. Like, Spencer Rattler, are you really about to drive this Saints team down here and win the ball game? So I think that's important to kind of think about. And I think for the Saints, though, it's very important in week 1 not to fall in love with that's who we are. We were only because in football, it's always a few plays. No matter how it goes, I think you can't fall victim to, man, we were only one play and we could have won. We're okay. No, still have a lot of work. We have no idea how good the Cardinals will be this year overall. So Spencer Rattler, I don't think it was as bad as people would have thought going into the game.
No, definitely not. Good win for the Cardinals either way on that side of the ball, pulling out the victory. Never easy on the road week one doing that. You're dealing with a Brandon Staley, and he's a new defensive coordinator. Yep. Hard to prepare for that. You're not sure exactly how the Saints and Kellen Moore are going to attack you there. So it wasn't easy, even though the Saints are, not world beaters as we know. I don't know about the Cardinals defense, how good it's going to be. I think that's what we have to evaluate going forward. I think there's some pieces we like. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I will say the offense, I'm expecting a different offense this year. I know it wasn't easy today. It wasn't easy, but
Kyler Murray was sick.
It was not. Kyler Murray he reported with an illness early this morning. We heard that, right? And then you got, Marvin Harrison Jr. popped. Trey McBride popped a little bit. We saw Trey Benson make a big run. We know James Conner is going to be Mr. Reliable going forward. I do think they're going to be able to run the ball, and I think they got enough weapons this year to be a pain in the ass. But the defensive side of the ball is the one part about where I just go, I like it. I just don't know how good it's going to be. And, I'd like to see it against a little bit of a stiffer competition before I make that judgment. Either way, Saints 1-0. They get the win, Cardinals 1-0. They beat the Saints 20-13, and we'll move on to the next game. All right, dominant defenses. I don't know. That might have been. We were talking about a lot of dominant defenses here. Is this dominant defenses or shitty offenses?
Yeah, I don't think everybody's a dominant defense.
I don't think either.
I think it was some bad offensive play, which usually happens early on as offenses trying to find their footing. Especially, I've always thought it was more important for the offenses to play in the preseason when you talk about rhythm. And I know Tom used to always feel like they needed to go out there. They needed to get their rhythm. He needed to feel good. So I think it was more of that than, just this dominant defense. We'll see as the season goes on, but there's not that many dominant defenses in football. Right?
No, well, there's not that many, and we're talking about the Giants and the Commanders game here, where I'm not ready to say the Giants are anything on the offensive side of the ball yet to crown you a dominant defense. That's the big thing. Commanders get the win. Jaden Daniels looked really good. The Giants' defense is a pain in the ass, right? But Jaden Daniels just always makes a play when he has to, and the underrated part about the Commanders, and it looks like it might happen here in year two, is their ability to run the football. They can run the football. What Cliff Kingsbury has done with the O-line and coupling the run game with what Jaden Daniels can do, it's an aspect that I've really never seen Cliff Kingsbury be so good at until this last 2 years. So that's impressive. Jaden Daniels, it seems like in every big moment, makes a big scramble or buys time and throws an accurate pass down the football field. But the story is going to be that the Giants, they haven't scored a touchdown in 3 openers, 3 years in a row. All right, I mean, it's insane. And then you look at it and go, there was no hope today. It wasn't like we looked like, we were close, or, if this happened, that would have happened. Like, I don't know where they go from here. We saw Malik Neighbors. Yeah, that's good. But the offensive line looked like shit again. Andrew Thomas didn't play.
Out to me.
Right. And the ripple effect of when he doesn't play and they have to move people around, it shows. And the Commanders dominated them up front. Yep. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't protect. We never saw that. Russell Wilson led the team in rushing. And it never felt like they were in a rhythm of offense. They'd make a play here and there. We go, Giants. And I'd be silly. But just being silly, I knew. Just sitting there watching it like, oh, man. I feel like it's losses like this and how they looked and Russell Wilson looked where I just want to go, just play Jackson Dart and let's move on with life here.
And that's what stinks about the way the NFL is built, because if I'm Brian Dable, I got to hold off putting Jackson Dart in as long as possible, because that's his
last thing he's got left.
And that's the way the NFL is built, like to keep your job, because ultimately for the team, it makes more sense to play Jackson Dart right away. Let him continue to get better so you can go out there and eventually win games, because this game, actually, I know it was 21-6. It's closer than it really should have been. Jaden Daniels missed a few throws.
Yeah, definitely.
Deebo Samuel dropped a couple passes.
Right.
This game could have been uglier. Very early in the game, Terry McLaurin double moves a Deebo, and he has him.
Yep.
And Jaden Daniels, like we talked about a few times, and on the broadcast they talked about it. He was smiling after like 3 or 4 throws because he knew he had it, and he just missed.
Right.
Now, he's good enough that he connects on enough plays to win, but I thought that game could have been a lot uglier. And I think, like you said, how is the Giants' offensive line still so bad? And I think people have to realize in today's NFL, your offensive line only improves by drafting the right guys. You're not getting good offensive linemen in free agency.
You might get one here and there every now and then.
Okay, guy, but like this thought of like I'm going to draft this stud to take over from I think your best bet is you can draft an older guy that can come give you maybe a year or two, and you develop a guy, but they have to win in the draft. And like you said, when you struggle in the offensive line, that means you're thin. So then if you lose one of your best offensive linemen, you're too thin to kind of make it work.
Right.
And then you have an older quarterback that you kind of need to have a pocket. And I know Russ was always dual threat. It's not that same guy, so that makes it even harder for them.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, I don't feel good about it. I don't.
Worry, you can
I didn't like the way it looked. I've been
hang out with me. I'm a Pats fan.
Well, I've been one for a while here, just going. I'm not real excited about the Russell Wilson experiment. I'm really not.
I hear that.
I'd rather see Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston out there. Honestly, that's just the simple facts of it, right? I think they'd make more plays too, and they'd be a more exciting football team. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. A game like that right there, with how they played and how they looked on the offense, and you go 17 for 37 for 168, and Jackson Dart was arguably the best quarterback in all of preseason. And I know not a lot of all the quarterbacks didn't play, but you all know what I'm saying here.
4-16 on third down.
They're gonna be chirping for Jackson Dart in New York for sure. Now, they're not going to be chirping for the backup quarterback up in New England, but either way, New England, I don't want to say shocker here, but certainly surprised. 20-13, I expected them to win the football game, and it's the way they looked, I guess. It just wasn't that impressive on the offensive side of the ball.
I'll
let you have the floor here, Mr. Patriot.
I got a lot of text messages where a lot of people were like my older brother texted me, and he's a diehard Cowboys fan. He's like, and he's getting in all his betting and everything. He's like, hey, I think the Pats could win this game. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. But what I was excited about, I did the Patriots preseason games, and what I was excited about was all of the things they could do on offense, being multiple. Like, we got Drake May to do these things. And what I was worried about was how could they hold up against a Crosby or these different – and offensive line, like they held up pretty well today.
Yeah, right.
It's just they couldn't get a rhythm. One, they couldn't run the ball. And two, I never felt like Drake May was comfortable. The offensive line wasn't horrible, but there was some pressure here and there. And I want to go back and watch the film, too, of could Drake May have stepped up a little bit more clean and delivered the ball?
Yeah,
was there anybody open?
Sure.
Was that a bigger problem that he was holding the ball because no one was open? And
missed a few throws. We saw that.
Exactly.
Right.
So the thing that I guess didn't surprise me as much as I wasn't as big on the Patriots defense that I think some other people were going in. I just, from being there, I never thought they really got after anybody from a pass rush standpoint, watching practice. Like, when you send pressure, sometimes you can get some people, especially in joint practices, maybe you're a little bit more advanced in how you're game planning than they are and all those things. But I never felt like watching them, the four guys were getting home. There were different times in practices where Barmore and Milton Williams pushed the pocket, and I know Landry made some plays today and got some sacks, but
he's probably their best pass rusher, right?
And more of that felt like to me was when they sent extra people.
Yeah, schemed it up a little.
And I don't think until Christian Gonzalez is back out there healthy, I don't know if they have the secondary to just say, as much as possible, we want to just be blitzing. Christian Gonzalez missed a lot of training camp. Carlton Davis missed a lot of training camp. So, yes, those are two good players, but I don't know. I'm not fully confident. Like, again, the Raiders are a good football team. Geno Smith back with Pete Carroll. But that's not an offense where we come in and we're just like, man, they're going to put up a lot of points. So, I think it's not like sound the alarm. But I think for New England, I think it's, hey, let's manage these expectations a little bit. I think everyone, and even me, I was like, I think they could possibly finish second in this division because I didn't think, I still feel the same about Miami. I think Miami's not going to be a very good football team this year.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
The Jets, I don't know. The Jets might be a little better than I thought coming in. I know it's only week one, but they might be able to muster up some things that make them effective. But I think the Patriots, it wasn't the debut they wanted.
No, definitely not. Era. Didn't dominate the line of scrimmage, never got the run game going. Drake May, the stats, I think, will look better than he actually played, right? He was 30 for 46 for 287, but I think what we saw was no big throws in the moments when you needed to have it, or big plays when they needed to have it. I think that would be the way I would maybe try to encapsulize, something like that there, right? Now I don't have Ahmed to correct me in English, and I know you're not going to be able to correct me in some of these. So we're screwed. You just have to go with the wrong word there, all right? The story of the day, though, as much as we talk about the Patriots, and I'm still hopeful for them for sure, it's Geno Smith, right? No Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers coming back to New England, getting a little payback there, and Brock Bowers. That's what they did. Geno Smith, though, I was blown away today. I felt like Geno Smith, he looked as loose and as confident throwing the football, I feel like, as I've ever seen him. And that's a credit to Chip Kelly. I got to give him credit, the new OC there under Pete Carroll. But I mean, came out of the box firing.
Yeah,
he throws an interception, somewhere in the first quarter, maybe it was early second, because he was firing. They went through a little dead spot of the game where you're like, man, all of a sudden they look good and they can't do shit. And then they caught fire again, and he started making big throws. And it wasn't because of the run game. Ashton Jeanty, it was few and far between. In fact, I'm just going to sit here again and say I don't love the look of Ashton Jeanty so far. I don't. There is an explosiveness about him that is just not there that I thought was there. Yeah. I don't know. And we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong here. But either way, other than that, man, Geno Smith, the offense, it was really impressive. And, I think the Christian Gonzalez thing, like you said, was the biggest problem of the day. Yeah. I mean, the fact of how they want to play, and if you're going to play like that island shutdown corner is essential. Yeah. And not having him, you saw them kind of get exposed like that all day long.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good point. I thought that little lull for Geno, I thought that was when the Patriots decided to be a little bit more aggressive. They started sending pressure. So credit to Chip Kelly and Geno Smith getting together on that sideline or whatever and figuring out, all right, this is what they're doing. This is what we need to do and combat it. So just a good outing for Geno. I thought that first drive, New England sends the blitz. They pick up the blitz that time. Yeah. He finds Tucker.
Right.
It's like, to me, and I don't know, you've played quarterback. I never played, but I always felt bad as a defense when we sent the pressure. We didn't get home, and the quarterback sat in there and delivered a strike exactly because it was a safety coming down on the slot receiver. So whenever I had to come down on the slot receiver, I'm like, man, they better get home.
They get there first.
This guy's
I'm coming down, and he's coming up to me.
Exactly. So now I'm coming down. If he goes a hot route, and I got to attack him. Right. But if he comes vertical, now I got to try to manage.
Yeah, right.
And I always hated that. And I thought that was a play for Geno where if I'm him, I'm like, yeah. If that's what y'all want to do, y'all going to have fun. And you can see that confidence continue to build in. How about Jacoby Myers? Comes out, I want a contract extension. They say no. He was very adamant a few days ago on, hey, they said no, but I'm not done asking. I'm going to keep asking because I feel like I deserve it. And what does he do? Comes out here, 8 catches, 90-something yards. Credit to him.
Jacoby's a hell of a player.
Very good player.
Hell of a player.
New England should have never let
him go. No doubt
Undrafted
about
player.
It. That's why Josh McDaniels stole him when he was at the Raiders. He was like, "What? You're going to let me get him for $11 million a year? Sure, I'm taking him."
I'm sure they called the Raiders again, like, "Hey,
right. Hey, you want to
give him back?"
Yeah. No, yeah, and that just to finish that point in this game up, the league thinks a lot higher at Jacoby Myers than the public does. First off, Jacoby Myers is one of those guys when you meet him, you go, holy shit, he's a lot bigger than I thought, right? And then the route running and just the nuance. He's obviously got great instincts in the game. He's tough. He plays tough over the middle.
College quarterback.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's a player. And it was good to see. Good win for him. Good win for Geno. And, of course, Pete Carroll there getting his first win as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, last game of the day here, all right, before we do our little Monday night preview. The Jaguars, the Panthers. They had the rain delay that lasted for like an hour and 20 minutes, right? I've been happy with what I saw from the Jaguars, right? And in the preseason, I think Trevor Lawrence has looked comfortable. Panthers got some pain in the ass people on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. But damn, the way the Jags ran the ball and handled that today, and Trevor made the throws and was careful with the ball and never felt like he was out of control like maybe we've seen him the last few years. Again, Jaguars 26-10 over the Panthers, start the Liam Cohn era off in the right way. Yeah, I thought that was a big win. They looked pretty good too doing it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And you always say this. I do think in the long run for Jacksonville, the problem is, again, of how much money Trevor Lawrence is making and the belief of, they could just keep him calm and, he finished the day with 178 yards passing and it's not crazy, but they can run the ball. that to me is like, oh man, you're not going to get in games and win every game that way. Like, is Trevor Lawrence that guy that can go win you the game?
Right.
Again, he doesn't have to be that against the Panthers. I thought that was disappointing for the Panthers. Like, a lot of talk, the way Bryce Young finished the year last year.
No, it did not look good today.
Bring in some new weapons. You're just like, oh man, here they go. Them in Jacksonville, former number 1 picks playing each other. Like, this should be a battle. And it was not good for Bryce Young all day.
No.
Like, nothing got going.
Two interceptions, both of them were bad on him, right? The strip sack fumble was, again, I know you're getting hit or whatever, but either way, 3 turnovers, right? Barely threw for over 50%. I feel like all the questions we had about Carolina on the offensive side of the ball and Bryce Young, they're still there, right? And what I'm just amazed by is Liam Cohen he just goes to a team and he's like, hey, we can run the ball now. I'm here. I'll teach you how to run the ball.
Take these same guys
just right away. I mean, it's just right at 200 yards the first game of the year running the football. I mean, Travis Etienne, Bigsby, they all look good, but of course the big play was the 71-yard by Etienne. I believe in Liam Cohen, so we'll see where this goes. And I like the way Trevor looks, but yeah, you're right. We got to see it first. Yeah. And this is the year where I'm not letting any of these $55 million guys off the hook.
I've seen you say it.
It's done. Tua, Jared Goff, right? Trevor Lawrence. Who else am I missing? I don't know. Those are the top 3 candidates right now. Right? If you want to be talked about and be held in this high regard and get, and get all the headlines all the time, you got to start doing Lamar, Josh Allen, right? Joe Burrow stuff. And that's what I don't see enough of from that group. So I'm sick of that crap.
And we got to at least give it a mention. Travis Hunter, a lot of talk on.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing this. And again, sometimes you say things and people are like, oh, you're a hater. No, it's exactly what we thought. He was going to play offense,
right?
And he played a few snaps on defense. Now, no one fully knew going in if they were going to make primary offense or defense. They kind of kept that close to the chest, which I appreciate, what you should do.
Yeah,
but like, this is a National Football League, and maybe this grows a little bit and he's able to play a little bit more on defense or whatever it is. But right there, like, that's a normal game, right? 42 snaps on defense, 6 on offense. 42 on offense and 6 on defense. Like, that's
the way it should be.
Yeah, that's not anything crazy.
They need him to be a receiver.
Yeah.
They didn't trade up and do all that for him to just, play zone as a nickel defensive back.
I agree 100%.
Right? They're going to ride that.
Try to see if he could be a game changer and be another weapon on offense.
You talk him, De'Ami Brown, right? Brian Thomas Jr., and then Brenton Strange, their tight end. Yep. They got some guys there that are a little scary. Of course, with the 2 running backs and Bigsby and ATN, too. That was a good win. 23-3 at one point in that game. You felt like that game was pretty much over not long after the weather delay. You were like, see you later. All right, here we go. We got Monday Night Football preview, Vikings-Bears. All right, good one. Flores versus Ben Johnson. We know they know each other. Caleb Williams and that. What will they look like in that offense? B-Flow is going to have some wrinkles, or he better.
And Ben Johnson.
Because Ben has his number a little bit. Yep. There's no doubt about that, right? And we both know B-Flow is a psycho in a good way.
Watch a lot of Ben Johnson.
He's not going to like that. He's not going to like that. That guy's got his number. Minnesota favored by 1.5, under 43.5. I picked the Bears 23-20.
I don't think that's a bad pick. What I am a little bit worried about from Minnesota is I don't fully think they addressed their cornerback situation. And I asked Flo about it. He likes their corner group, and that's good that he likes them. Overall, I'm not in love with him. And I played for Brian Flores, and at the heart of it, he's more dangerous as a coordinator when he feels confident that they can cover on the outside. Because now he's like, I can really get creative. We can really start messing with the quarterback. So I do get a little bit worried about that of, hey, if Ben Johnson can design some of these things and create these one-on-ones with DJ Moore and these different guys they have outside, Adunze, you can cause some trouble. And what does Luther Burden bring? And you got 2 good tight ends. They have a lot of weapons on Chicago, and I think the key will be how he gets that run game going so Caleb can settle into the game. Right. He played in the 1 preseason game. They look damn good against Buffalo.
Right.
So maybe that's the approach, and they come out and they do it. But I have some confidence in the way that they played. I think ultimately we have to see with all these new head coaches, what does your game management, all that look like?
Yeah.
But it would be hard for me to pick against Minnesota in this one. Depending on, and again, the hard
J.J. McCarthy making his first start, right? There's a lot of unknowns. This is going to be a good game. I'm excited to watch this tomorrow night.
I agree.
Because I like both quarterbacks. I think they're talented as hell, and the play callers are damn good.
Yeah.
Really on both sides here.
Sides.
I mean, it's the Dennis Allen's the D coordinator of the Bears. He's no cupcake when it comes to preparing for him. Damn, he's a pain in the ass just like B. Flo is. Should be a fun game. I'm excited to see both those young quarterbacks. You like Vikings. I'm going to go Bears by a field goal. I'm going to go Bears, just Ben Johnson, home opener. It's going to be a close one. Yeah. All right. So you can watch that. You're going to see that. All right. And now I got to do my read, man. This is where I got to do some business. All right. DraftKings Unbuttoned. All right. Here we go. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube. Just download the Sportsbook app and use the promo code Unbuttoned when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. All right, everybody, that's it. We've been here for almost an hour and 45 minutes. We're not going to hit on Thursday night or Friday night Brazil game. I'm going to do a little mini pod tomorrow because I got to get up in about 5 hours right now, all right, and do PFT with Floria. So I'm going to do a little bit of that after, all right? But
I'll see Floria on Tuesday.
I know. Yeah. You're gonna work with him. He's going to tell you how much he likes me.
He likes you more. Yeah. He's not big ebony and ivory guy. Yeah. That's only our thing.
We'll get better as we go forward. We'll get even a better flow. I can be better leading the charge here as a host. I'm still working through that.
Only week one.
But you the man. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you, Devin McCourty. Seriously, you're my buddy, and you always bring good shit to the table. All right, subscribe, rate, review. You know where to find us. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Send in the questions. Tuesday, we're back on the desk here with Connor Rodgers. So then he can talk and lead the podcast, and I can give you all my thoughts. Because driving the bus and looking at my notes and trying to ask you a question is not that easy. I'm tired, all right? I'm tired, everybody. All right, everybody, be good. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you on Tuesday. Clap it up. Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.